It started with strange distortions in the deep space listening arrays, faint ripples in the silence of space that no natural cause could explain. Within hours, telescopes began spotting shapes in the darkness. Massive ships, far larger than anything humanity had ever built in orbit, moved together with perfect, machine-like precision. The Zorland Dominion had arrived. Their reputation had already reached us. Entire civilizations had fallen to their campaigns, often in just a few years. To them, we were simply another primitive species, less advanced, politically divided, and an easy target. Their intercepted communications made no attempt to hide their contempt. Earth was, in their view, an industrial relic still burning fuel in the atmosphere and squabbling over borders. Our weapons, they said, were crude chemical rockets, outdated nuclear arms, and basic artillery, barely worth mentioning. They planned the invasion with cold efficiency. In their schedule, Earth would be conquered within 72 hours of their arrival. The warlord in command spoke of humanity as though we were nothing more than a pest problem to be cleaned up. As news spread, the atmosphere on Earth thickened with dread. The first images of the approaching armada showed tiny points of light, which grew into great dark shapes blotting out the stars. Governments declared states of emergency. Orbital stations were hastily armed, cargo freighters stripped down and rebuilt with missile racks. Airbases overflowed with aircraft, but the numbers told the truth. For every human warship, the Zorland could send 10 each, faster, stronger, and wrapped in armor we couldn't pierce. In urgent meetings, leaders argued. Some wanted to surrender before cities were destroyed. Others called for total resistance, even if it meant extinction. In the end, humanity chose grim defiance. Every weapon system was activated, every satellite recalibrated for targeting. Even the old nuclear silos were placed on standby. Streets in some cities fell silent, residents hiding behind blackout curtains and stockpiling food. In others, panic erupted, with crowds emptying stores and chasing rumors of evacuation ships. Religious leaders urged calm in underground shelters, while politicians made promises they knew they couldn't keep. All the while, the Zorland fleet kept advancing, silent, steady, unstoppable. The alien fleet moved like predators, holding flawless geometric formations. Their sensors swept across the planet, scanning every military base, power grid, and communications hub. Their transmissions flooded every frequency, cold, emotionless voices stating, "Surrender and you will be spared. Resist and your species will vanish." There was no room for negotiation, no hint of diplomacy. Earth's military forces braced for the inevitable. Battle zones were marked. Pilots sat in their cockpits, engines idling, a low hum reminding them that orders could come at any second. Submarines drifted silently beneath the oceans, missile tubes armed and ready. Every defense system was locked on the descending ships, which grew larger by the second, blotting out more of the sky. The tension gripped everyone. Families crowded around TVs and radios, watching the invasion unfold. Stories of the Zorland's past conquests spread fast, how the Erlin were destroyed in a year, the Confederacy in weeks, the Kier Alliance in days. Analysts predicted Earth would last only hours. The Zorland commanders spoke openly of their plan, a clean 3-day campaign before complete subjugation. Yet beneath the fear, something else lingered, a quiet, stubborn resolve. Humanity was not an empire nor an alliance. We had no single banner, no unified fleet. But unpredictability had always been our strength. The Zorland could measure our ships, our weapons, our resources, but not the way we would use them. As the alien fleet closed the final 1,000,000 kilometers, engines glowing like silent suns, they believed the fight would be over almost instantly. But preparations were happening in places they weren't watching. Hidden deep in mountain bunkers and disguised in ordinary office buildings, secure networks came alive. Inside were not generals or soldiers, but politicians, network engineers, and cryptographers. They spoke in short, urgent sentences, eyes fixed on streams of encrypted data. Every line of code they typed was part of a plan almost no one else knew about. That plan had been set in motion years earlier, after a series of mysterious deep space signal interceptions. A small, secretive group of cybersecurity experts had been quietly working together, crossing borders and rivalries, answering only to an unmarked authority. Their mission had no official record, but it might be Earth's only chance. They were ghosts in the system. Their mission was to spot weaknesses in alien technology long before they were used against us, build defenses for threats that might never come, and do it without relying on standard galactic methods. When the Zorland's first long-range scans brushed over Earth's defenses, they thought they were just measuring primitive systems. In reality, they had triggered something hidden, listeners embedded in our networks. Tiny electronic traps disguised to look like outdated junk. The Dominion mistook deliberate design for inefficiency. Civilian broadcasts, relay stations, even old weather satellites carried dormant lines of code, waiting for a single signal to wake them. Across the planet, factories began producing strange equipment, processors tuned to operate outside normal electromagnetic ranges, storage devices with bizarre encoding patterns. To an outsider, it looked like mismatched scrap. In truth, every component was part of a larger design meant to exploit a flaw in every Zorland ship. Their obsession with precision and uniformity made their fleets engineering marvels, but it also made them vulnerable. All their ships spoke the same digital language. For months, human codebreakers had been studying it. They'd found a single well-guarded doorway in the alien systems. All it needed was the right key. Human programming style, messy, inconsistent, full of odd redundancies, was exactly what the Zorland could not anticipate. What they saw as inefficiency was really a maze, built to trap and confuse automated defenses. The plan revolved around turning that chaos into a weapon. The malware was designed to masquerade as harmless signal noise. Once inside the alien network, it would spread faster than any countermeasure could stop it. Only a few commanders knew fragments of the plan. Naval crews were told to delay launches without explanation. Certain targeting systems were ordered to route all data through ancient ground stations. No one person, not even in the core team, knew the entire blueprint. This way, if anything was intercepted or betrayed, the operation would survive. Alien recon drones recorded human ships sitting idle, weapons cold. To the Dominion, it looked like surrender, a final sign that Earth was ready to bow without a fight. That false impression was exactly what we wanted. Every hesitation, every delay, every small act of resistance was part of the disguise. Humanity needed the Zorland to feel certain of their superiority, to rely completely on their flawless systems, without the slightest suspicion. In the final hours before the alien fleet reached striking range, the hidden network came alive. Test signals bounced between orbital relays, passing through enemy-controlled stations that had been scanned and dismissed as irrelevant long ago. None of the transmissions matched any known galactic standard. They weren't encrypted, there was no key to break. To the invaders, it was just static, the meaningless chatter of a doomed world's final hours. But humanity knew better. The first phase of the war had already begun, not in space, not with weapons, but in the silent corridors of code and signal, where no fleet could maneuver fast enough to keep up. The Zorland formation slid into low orbit with perfect precision. Weapons locked on preselected targets, power readings surged as city grids lit up under the strain. Across the planet, shadows deepened under the weight of the coming strike. The countdown began. Encrypted orders rippled through the alien fleet, coordinating simultaneous attacks meant to wipe out every defense in minutes. Their calculations showed the same outcome over and over: total collapse. Bursts of data unlike anything the Zorland had ever seen. The signals scattered across multiple wavelengths, appearing random and meaningless background noise to anyone who didn't know better. Then, right on cue, Earth's dormant systems synchronized. Platforms in high orbit released